All the examples we've seen, him suing Showtime for $300 million, him foreclosing on multiple properties, him losing on investments on multiple properties, him buying a lot of depreciating assets, and him all of a sudden looking to box very much in the year 2026. Floyd losing money Mayweather, as the chatter says, is in dire straits financially.
Because they don't like him. They don't like him because everything that he says is about money. There's nothing else. There's no values. There's no, like the people's champ, like Ali was standing for the same things.
Right.
The audience was standing for. You know, he doesn't have any of that. It's just money. You know what I'm saying? And that, he knows you don't like him.
Some people will say, you know, he's suing now because of his gambling habits, which was not hidden. It was not a secret. He would post, not Teddy Atlas talking about anything that wasn't out there. He would post some of his tickets, his betting tickets that he bet, and they were large bets. And so some people say, oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he...
Once hailed as one of the wealthiest figures in sports, Floyd Mayweather Jr. now appears to be going through a difficult phase. Reactions across boxing range from disbelief to frustration as legal issues begin to emerge around him. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao is reportedly considering legal action following Mayweather's recent remarks about their historic bout.
What I feel, that's in their underwear in grandmother's basement or wherever the frick they are, taking pot shot at people because of their misery, because of their misfortune, because they're in a bad place. Shame on you. And shame on the people out there. I know that there's some of them, everyone knows I don't really read that internet unless somebody shows me specifically some stuff. And I saw some of the stuff. I didn't want to see any more, so I told them, don't show me any more. But I saw enough to see what was out there. People taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point, and now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, like they get pleasure.
Fresh reports indicate that Mayweather's financial position might not be as solid as it once seemed. Allegations of liens, property foreclosures, rising debts, and heavily leveraged assets including luxury homes and his private jet are surfacing. There are even claims that creditors are pursuing unpaid expenses like jet fuel. Adding to the controversy, Mayweather referred to the Pacquiao fight as just an exhibition, despite allegedly receiving advance payments for a professional contest, raising concerns about a potential contract violation.
And Thurman, apparently he did an interview, said that it was an exhibition, that these guys didn't have anything to prove, that their legends were already set in stone, and that it would be an exhibition. He wasn't sure if it was going to be at the Sphere. Apparently, that is not true. According to a Boxing Scene article that interviewed Jazz Mathur, the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, said that, yes, the fight is contracted for the Sphere, booked at the Sphere, scheduled at the Sphere for September 19th. It is booked as a professional fight, not as an exhibition. It was never booked as an exhibition, which makes sense because Netflix got behind it, and I would assume that they would not want an exhibition. We said the other day, I think it was actually yesterday, we said that this fight has to be a real fight and not an exhibition because one, Netflix is involved, two, Manny Pacquiao wants that get back, and two, also
on social media, Mike Carpenter called out Mayweather, arguing that his statements contradict official announcements from Netflix and could put him in breach of contract if he continues labeling the fight as an exhibition. Wade Plemons echoed this concern, saying that accepting signing bonuses and upfront payments for a professional bout while calling it an exhibition raises serious red flags. He suggested Mayweather might be attempting to mislead both Netflix and Pacquiao's camp, also referencing past controversy involving Logan Paul, where similar promotional tactics allegedly earned Mayweather millions.
Person saying, this is a real fight. You got the promotion saying, this is a real fight. You got Floyd Mayweather saying, no, this is an exhibition. There's two things that are happening here. Either somebody messed up in paperwork or in communication or in some form of getting this fight together, misspoke to one of these guys, or Floyd Mayweather is trying to scam Netflix. That is the only two things that can be possible here. Because we then get the report, as of yesterday, that Floyd Mayweather has already taken a cash advance payment of his purse for the upcoming Manny Pacquiao rematch on Netflix, despite it currently being in jeopardy. I don't even know how that's possible. Who gave him a cash advance before they even got to the fight? I understand like paying some up front to secure the fight, but paying everything? Maybe it's not what it is. Maybe
the businessman named Renitz, closely associated with Mayweather and linked to his business ventures, is also facing increasing scrutiny. Reports claim Pacquiao's team is threatening legal action over the upcoming Netflix fight. However, that may not be the only lawsuit tied to Mayweather or his associates. Pacquiao's side insists the bout is officially sanctioned and not an exhibition. Since Mayweather has already signed the agreement, he is expected to compete under professional rules.
And then everything they took the risk for sometimes is lost. Whether it was Joe Louis, whether whoever, it never becomes not sad or unfortunate to hear. Never. It's a look. You could say it's their responsibility. It is. It is. You got to know what's going on. But there are also sharks in this business, in any business. And sometimes these athletes, I wouldn't even specify fighters. We're talking about fighters. But you hear it in football, Bud. You were around it. You hear it in basketball. Sometimes these athletes, they don't have the right people around them to look out for them. You know?
Joe Rogan highlighted that Mayweather dominated boxing for over a decade, becoming one of America's biggest stars. His 2015 clash with Pacquiao was the most lucrative fight of its time, showcasing his elite defensive skills, incredible speed, and a larger-than-life money persona that fueled both his fame and fortune.
Real fight. Is that what he's feeling? But he signed a real fight.
So it's for sure.
Yes, the contract that we signed is a real fight.
Real fight. Okay. Yeah, because I know Lee said
I want to fight an exhibition.
No exhibition. It's either real fight or nothing.
Yeah, it's a real fight.
Yeah. Sphere still in Las Vegas.
That's the contract that he signed. I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so it's still happening.
Mayweather has built a reputation for extravagant spending, luxury watches, rare cars, and casually writing checks worth millions. His image has always been one of limitless wealth. However, he has now filed a lawsuit against his former broadcast partner Showtime and its ex-president, Steven Espinoza, claiming he is owed $340 million. This legal battle contrasts sharply with his public image, exposing the complex financial disputes behind the scenes and showing that even someone as wealthy as Mayweather can face serious challenges. When contracts and money collide.
He definitely did. Look, and it would have been an interesting fight had he fought Pacquiao when he was younger, in his prime. It would have been a very different
Would have been
fight.
a more interesting fight.
Much more different.
Because
more difficult
any
fight.
go-forward physical warrior like Pacquiao is going to wear down.
Right, exactly.
And any brilliant counterpuncher like Floyd is going to retain more.
Yeah.
So he did.
Yeah, it would have been much more interesting when they were younger. Also, the fact that Pacquiao fought him with a bum shoulder. That was a disaster, too.
Money talks.
Yeah. I mean, look, I guess he was faced with this thing, legacy, or, I mean, it was the biggest pay-per-view of all time in boxing, correct?
I believe so.
I believe so. And I think it was like 4 million buys.
50 Cent has remarked that many people resent Mayweather due to his focus on money-driven fights and constant displays of wealth. Fans have often anticipated his downfall, yet Mayweather has managed to turn that negativity into profit. The criticism only boosted pay-per-view sales and generated massive earnings, proving that both admiration and dislike helped him become one of boxing's richest and most controversial figures.
Like, well, you said I didn't want to say I was active because that's normal.
Right.
I said I wasn't activated. I knew what I said. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, you didn't say it right. I knew I said it right. I knew what I said. I knew what I posted.
I don't really care how much you make, bro. I feel like writing an $18 million check has to feel some sort of way, though.
That's crazy.
I didn't want to do it. Of course, I'm like, yo, who wants to give up basically 20 million?
You wrote 18,180,000,000.00. Like, bro, that's crazy.
You know, I got huge deals on the table, so I'm always making shake.
What's the biggest thing you got working right now?
I can start this. Come here. So come here. So
Dude, what is it?
keep this long. Okay. So right here.
That's crazy.
I just keep stuff on the low.
Yeah, my math don't work like.
Max Kellerman argues that athletes who spend excessively without making smart investments often face financial difficulties later in life. He emphasizes that even those who earn huge sums can struggle without disciplined financial planning. Using Mayweather as an example, Kellerman explains how overspending can lead to legal conflicts, debt accumulation, and even a return to competition. His message is clear: long-term financial stability requires careful management, no matter how much money one earns.
And I'm like, and he said the prize. So it's okay for you to watch the fight. Don't nobody watch Floyd fight to see how amazing he is. They watch it for the opportunity to see him lose.
Right.
Because they don't like him. They don't like him because everything that he says is about money. There's nothing else. There's no values. There's no, like the people's champ, like Ali was standing for the same things.
Right.
The audience was standing for. You know, he doesn't have any of that. It's just money. You know what I'm saying? And that, you know.
Max Kellerman highlights that athletes like Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Kellerman further criticized Mayweather for how he has handled his wealth, pointing to spending habits involving luxury items and high-stakes gambling. He warns that such a lifestyle, without a solid financial strategy, creates instability. According to him, many athletes end up in similar situations, earning millions during their careers, but having little to show afterward. Mayweather's case serves as a cautionary example of how reckless financial decisions can erode even the largest fortunes.
Coming up, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. I think the guy's from Greece or something like that. What do you feel about great champions doing these kind of fights as well, or just these kind of fights that's going on?
You need money.
Damn.
Yeah, when you need money. This is the problem with boxing. You think about financial literacy, right? And you talk about like NFL players or NBA players. There's support systems for those dudes. There's nothing like that for fighters. They got to figure it out all themselves. And if you're a fighter, that means you did not have options.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like basketball or football. If you could, like, by the way, football players couldn't play basketball, or they play basketball. It's a better deal, right? That's if you can, you do. And boxers couldn't do either one of those things, right? They're too small, or they got hurt, whatever it is. And
Wade Clemens reported that Mayweather has already received advance payments for the anticipated Pacquiao rematch on Netflix, with confirmations from ESPN and journalist Mike Coppinger. He claims Mayweather has a history of taking advances while structuring fights in ways that protect his undefeated record. Clemens referenced past exhibitions involving Logan Paul and Deji, where Mayweather reportedly demanded large payouts or threatened to withdraw. Now, he warns that similar tactics could lead to legal complications, especially since Pacquiao's team claims multiple contracts and payments have already been made.
Or kind of structure in place to help them at all. And so what usually happens with almost every fighter who ever lived, not everyone, but most of them, is they wind up going broke at a certain point, right? First of all, taxes, child support, all that kind of stuff, that promoters, this and that, and then just the way you spend your money. Could be bad investments. You can try to do the right thing and wind up with bad investments. You could just spend too much. And the thing is, if you're not the best in the world anymore, but you're one of, let's say, the 50 best in the world at what you do in your weight class, still hard to tell.
Jason Whitlock pointed to widespread speculation about Mayweather's finances, including rumors of bankruptcy, property sales, and declining cash reserves. He suggested these issues may explain why Mayweather continues to return to the ring. Whitlock described it as a warning about prioritizing image over financial responsibility. Now nearing 50, Mayweather's comeback could reflect the long-term consequences of overspending, even for someone who once stood at the very top of the sport.
ESPN, this is not, random Twitter person reporting this. I think Mike Coppinger also reported the same thing. If this is to be believed, Floyd took a cash advance and then undermined the promotion of his own fight to try to protect his 50-0 record and still make a bag. Floyd has done this for years. He has done this for years, especially after his pro career. When he was doing these exhibitions, he would not show up to things he was obligated to do, take advances. Even the Deji fight, you can ask Deji, I was there. Floyd demanded that they pay him some insane amount of money or he wasn't going to fight Deji while he was at the venue. And they wanted to change gloves and do all this stuff. And I think they actually did it. They paid Floyd to do it. And I've seen this with a bunch of his exhibitions, and obviously we know about the Logan Paul situation, how Floyd shopped his fight to a different company after essentially scamming.
Rumors and stories coming out about Floyd Mayweather, him auctioning off property, him being in bankruptcy, him being out of money, and that's why he's going to fight Mike Tyson. Saw this incredible tweet where a guy listed all the things Floyd Mayweather wasted money on while living in Las Vegas and just living for the culture. That's what Floyd Mayweather is an example of. The stupidity of living for the culture and trying to be relatable and trying to be this incredible icon or example of, look how much money I've made. He's blown it all, and now at 49 years old, he's got to go back into the boxing ring and continue to fight because he's
whether has to agree to whatever the contract is. If it's a fight, I think one of the comments they really made a point that one of the comments in our chat made a point that has really stuck with me. Mayweather has to know the terms he agreed to. Come on, I mean you can't just sign something and not know those terms. You gotta know that if it is in fact it has to be a fight, then he would do this, and he knows he's got to go through with a fight. He may just be saying this just to sell the fight in general. Just you sell it as make it a talking point, make it a controversial point, so that people want to wind up talking about it more. It becomes a topic of discussion, and then from that perspective, people end up watching. More people end up watching it because it becomes more of a polarizing topic of conversation. So I don't know. I see this eventually getting straightened out. I think it has to. I mean, Floyd has to fight right now. I think Mayweather probably wants to fight right now. I mean, Mayweather wants to fight and probably has to fight right now. And Pacquiao seems to want to and have to.
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates.
It's coming up. Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. I think the guy's from Greece or something like that. What do you feel about great champions doing these kind of fights as well? Or just these kind of fights that's going on?
They need money. Damn. Yeah, when you need money. This is the problem with boxing. You think about financial literacy, right? And you talk about like NFL players or NBA players. There's support systems for those dudes. There's nothing like that for fighters. They got to figure it out all themselves. And if you're a fighter, that means you did not have options.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like basketball or football. If you could, by the way, football players couldn't play basketball, or they play basketball. It's a better deal, right? That's if you can, you do. And boxers couldn't do either one of those things, right? They're too small or they got hurt, whatever it is. And